So when it comes to discussing children and young people online, their lived experience is incredibly important. And I know that there are some teenagers and young kids in the audience today, and I'm sure you've heard a lot of adults talking about this in your life. So the youth voice is very beneficial. So our next panel brings together some incredibly driven, inspiring young people who have thought really deeply about these issues, and they're advocating for positive change. Whether you agree with every idea or not, their voices matter because they're the ones growing up in a world shaped by digital technology. So please give another warm welcome to our Youth Advisory Group. Okay, I will introduce everybody one by one. Down here, you can wave Caden. We've got Caden Scott. Caden is a former game developer and current executive director of the International Online Crime Coordination Centre, focused on counteracting digital child exploitation across social media and online gaming platforms. Welcome, Caden. Next to Caden, we have Arden Moringa. Arden is an 18-year-old University of Auckland student, coach, tutor and youth advocate. Originally from Hamilton, Arden became the youth MP for Hamilton East. Alongside his studies, he coaches rowing and rugby, tutors te reo Māori, and is passionate about helping young people realise their potential and have their voices heard. Welcome, Arden. Next up, we have Mackenzie Roscrooge. Mackenzie is a business development executive at Zeal, one of the fastest growing talent acquisition tech companies in New Zealand, and is in her last year of her law and commerce degree at University of Auckland. And last but certainly not least, we have Lucy Kilgore. Lucy is a second-year law, commerce and language student. She's passionate about youth advocacy and civics, having spoken at Parliament and recently written for the University of Auckland Ingenio magazine. Welcome, Lucy. All right, so let's kick off with you, Lucy. Why do you think kids actually want social media in the first place? What's the big draw card?
Oh my goodness, for me it was definitely just that all my friends had it, but I didn't actually think about what was on it, and I didn't know what I was missing out on until I watched one of my friends scroll through Instagram on her iPad at school. And I thought, whoa, so much is happening that I don't know about, and I feel like I'm missing out, or I need to see this. So it was that curiosity piece and wanting to know what was happening, but not a particular cool thing about social media itself.
And what do you think it does to friendship dynamics? You know, having so much awareness of where everyone is and what they're doing and who they're spending time with. How does that impact a friendship group?
Yeah, it's really different to when you could just knock on your friend's door and hang out, and that was that. Instead, we could see if two people in a group were hanging out without everyone else, because we would follow each other on Snap Maps, or people would post an Instagram story. And then it was the questions of, why wasn't I invited, that started going. Or you'd have group chats with special names, and you felt special if you were added to the group chat. Or there would be the big group, and then there would be the little group that you wanted to be part of. And that made it feel more competitive, or like we were tracking to move up a hierarchy, rather than actually just being friends.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think as children and young people or teenagers, going against the grain or doing something different to your friends, i.e. not getting a phone or not getting social media, can be really, really hard. There's that intense feeling of FOMO, which is a really big deal when you're a teenager especially. So how do teenagers combat that sense of FOMO, that they're missing out if they're not on there? What advice would you give, Mackenzie?
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I found social media quite anxiety-inducing, to be honest. You're spending a lot of time scrolling through so many different things that it becomes quite hard to categorise what the important things are that you actually should be paying attention to as well. So I feel like realising that not everything you're viewing all the time, not all of these other lives that you're looking at that are maybe a little bit different to yours, are super important to who you are as a person. So I think one thing that was really great for me to kind of get over the sense of FOMO with social media comes down to what my parents did for me, and that was to get me involved in things like individual sports, team sports, being able to do more things with my friends so I could actually unplug and bring more perspective back to who I was as a person, to build my own identity back.
It's really good to know, because I'm sure all the parents in the audience are like, how do we get what you guys have got and that you don't want to be on social media? So that's very handy. And what about the things that you're not doing if you're on social media? I mean, looking back now, what do you wish you had spent more time doing? I mean, Arden, I've heard you talk about everything you did instead of social media. Can you elaborate a bit about that?
Yeah, firstly, I'm just trying to make sure I'm sitting up nice and tall.
We all are, Arden, we all are.
Self-conscious up here for that. No, but for me, I think one of the biggest and most important factors of how I've developed as a person and my character and my beliefs and in my values has been the community that I've had around me. And I draw a lot of those sort of learnings from what I've been involved in. Now, I've done rugby, I've done rowing, I've done debate, I've done kapahaka, I've done tutoring, and not only is it the people that you meet there and the real in-person connections that you make that help to shape who you are and also carry along lifelong friendships, it teaches you a lot as well. It does teach you a lot. One point I think I want to make is that not everybody's the same, and you don't all have to have the same interests. You don't have to do a sport, you don't have to do an art, but just do something that's not staring at a screen all day. You know, we heard about FOMO, fear of missing out. We're missing out the most when we're looking at a screen and watching that short form content. It's not good for us. And we've heard about the negative effects. We've heard about the negative things online. And so I just encourage young people and parents, get your kids out, get them to do something that's bigger than themselves and learn how to work with others, and also spend time with the people that you love. We're all getting older. Some
of us more than others, Arden.
We're all getting more experienced in life. I walked into, because I coach rowing, I walked into the school today to go hand in a vetting form, and I was not in uniform anymore, and that made me feel more experienced in life. But when you build genuine connections with people, that's how you win. And it's just going to be like the Chiefs on Saturday when they win against the Hurricanes. Cheers.
Oh, thanks, Arden. Yep, you are 18. It's all downhill from there. What can I say? So, I'm joking. Now, I know a lot of parents have concerns around the rise of gaming as well and the risks that are associated with that. You know, things like strangers having direct access to your children and some really extreme content on some of these gaming platforms. Kaden, this is your wheelhouse as a former gamer, game developer and gamer potentially. What red flags should parents know about when it comes to gaming? Like, what are the features that are really problematic?
I think a lot of the time, like looking into platforms like Roblox and Fortnite and Minecraft and pretty much any online gaming platform where, yeah, most kids nowadays are probably playing it or have friends on it. There's a large number of things to be well aware of, because the majority of content on these games might be entirely okay at first glance, but it's when you kind of start going down the rabbit hole and like, for example, if we're looking at Roblox, kids might come across like, yeah, just any normal games that they're playing with their friends, but all it takes is a click on a single game that pops up on their homepage or on their recommendations, and that game is something to do with like some sexual fetish or like bathrooms or like these very over-sexualized games that are being introduced to 9-year-olds playing on the platform, and those games are entirely accessible within just the homepage of that game, of that platform. And outside of that, there are also the entire issue of like sexual extortion, violent extremism, radicalization that is exceptionally prevalent across gaming platforms, where it's really easy for children, like particularly young teens, to kind of just fall into the wrong social circles where they might make some friends in these games because they're chatting with them. Maybe they're playing Fortnite, maybe they're playing Roblox. They're just chatting with them, meeting new friends, but those friends happen to be within those other circles, and it's a really easy path for children to be radicalized. Like, children are very susceptible to just a lot of different things online. It's really easy to be just encountering highly negative content, extremist content, and all sorts of just, horrific content online.
Yeah, well, I think we all originally thought that since it's marketed to children and young people that it will be safe, but now we are learning that potentially not so. So if you guys had a younger brother or sister, what advice would you give to them when it comes to navigating social media? This is a question for all of you, but shall we kick it off with you, Lucy?
Yeah, I have 2 younger brothers, and I think the way they interact on social media is quite different to me, probably just having different friend groups and being into sports, but I think just not going on it was the real first step. I got Instagram when I was 12, and my 14-year-old brother doesn't have it now. And that means that he goes to school, does his sport, comes back, and he's tired and rests instead of scrolling through a screen, kind of feeling numb and more exhausted and sleeping worse. And I think even though it's really hard with friendships where people just aren't talking about the same things, it's something that you just have to resist and build resilience through. I think I didn't realise that when I had social media and my friends didn't. And I also wish that I carried them along that journey a little bit more and was more open to talking perhaps about other things that weren't so tied to social media.
Thanks, Lucy. How about you, Mackenzie?
Yeah, I'm an only child, so I'll try my best. But I would say try and turn the fear of missing out into the joy of missing out, almost. There's so many things that we can actually look forward to in our day-to-day lives, and it's re-anchoring into what are the things that actually really excite you, whether it's an after-school sport activity or something along those lines. So yeah.
Love that. How about you, Arden?
Yeah, I'm also an only child, but I have millions of cousins, so that more than makes up for it. I would just say, and there's 2 things that I'd say to my younger cousins, and I have. The first one is don't let the rhetoric on social media, don't let the rhetoric in the world, and don't let stereotypes and negative influences shape who you are. Understand that you're bigger than that. That's the first thing, because even if people are off social media, eventually they're going to face these challenges, not as confrontational or not as much, but they're still going to face the challenges of people saying that they're not who they can be. And so telling them you're greater than what other people say you are. And then secondly, I'd just say approach everything with love and compassion, right? And approach everything with a spirit of willingness. So get out and do your sports, get out and do your extracurriculars, get out and do your learning, but do everything really, really well. And if you do that, you're not going to have enough time to go on social media anyway. Yeah. Cheers.
And how about you, Caden?
I do have quite a few siblings there, all of which do use social media quite a fair bit. But one of the main things I will always try to do with them or try and tell them is just come out and do things with me. Whether it be going to the beach, going for a walk, going on a hike, just getting outside, even if it's just going shopping at the mall, it's still so much better than just scrolling on your phone. And so just trying to drag everybody out to go do things, family activities with friends, and just really get engaged outside of that. Even just in a general sense in uni life and whatnot, you can go out with your friends and just do things other than just scrolling on your phones. And that same can be said for high schoolers too.
Thanks, guys. I mean, before we move on to our next panel, I just want to say that you guys are really paving the way for kids and teenagers that haven't been able to fathom another path. So I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge and advice with us tonight. Can we have a big round of applause for our Youth Advisory Group?